Morning. It's time to start. And we're going to start with the thing that makes this truck look the saddest, which is it's down flat in front here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get this thing up in the air on both fronts, try and yank both front wheels, and I actually have two spare almost new tires that'll fit these rims in the garage. So we're going to go ahead and get these off, take the other two tires, throw them in the truck, and run those up to the tire shop down the road and see if we can get them swapped out for us. I honestly really like these very 80s Super Sport tires, but they're pretty rotten. The fronts are severely cracked and dry rotted, so I won't be keeping them on it. We're putting some random Gennaro brand on the front, and the backs are better, not great, but better. So we're gonna keep them on for now until we get this thing a little more squared away. Once we get it more done and decide how worthy this truck is, we'll look into tire combos. My thought is either put some, like, you know, old Kreger style looking wheels on it, or I even thought about taking these and scuffing them up and just painting them like an off-white color. I think that would look good with the red. Kind of give it that classic look still. But we'll see. We're a little ways from getting to that point. First things first, let's get them all with wind in them. I especially like that this lug nut was installed backwards. That's cool. So 3 different styles. Some of these are the acorns and some of them aren't. Kind of funny. Somebody, I think, put this back together with some spare parts. And these weren't super tight. I honestly, with all the little clues I've been finding, I think here's the deal. My guess is this truck had some probably pretty nice accessories on it. I think it probably had a nice exhaust. I think it probably had nicer wheels and tires. Aftermarket steering wheel, aftermarket stereo, and when whoever had this decided they didn't want to keep running it, they took the radio out, and I think the radio was probably up where like the ashtray was, because I noticed that and the brackets for it had been removed, and were in the bed of the truck. The tires are on here, but like I said, they weren't even super tight, and the steering wheel is just finger tightened on there. So I'm thinking they took all that stuff off, threw on some old junk they had laying around just to make it complete, and then threw it on the side of the house or whatever. So plan is going to be undo all the undoing that they did, and put some better stuff on it. At least for now, we'll have 2 good tires up front. They won't all be matching, but that's kind of the least of my concerns right now. Get these things presentable, get it up on all 4s, and then hopefully get it running. This one at least spins. The other side's not actually free spinning right now. Alright, these are the tires we're They are Primewell Mesa AP2s. They're actually decent tires. I don't know what I'd compare them to, I guess. They're almost kind of like one of those Cooper Discoverers, I think is probably what it's trying to be. They've been stored outside, unfortunately. So they are wet in here and dirty, so I'm just trying to clean them up because I'm going to take them to just a cheapo tire place down the street and hopefully only pay a couple bucks to mount them. So I don't anticipate them doing a whole lot of like cleaning or prep for them. So I'm going to do that for them, get them where they're mountable, somewhat dry, and drop those off, drop the wheels and tires off we just yanked. They can dispose of those rotten old things from the front for me, put these on. But I yanked these off my red and white F100 when I mounted my set of 4 BFG all-terrains on it. But since they were so new, I hung on to them and just threw them beside the garage for a rainy day such as this one. Clean enough. All right, bam. Got ourselves our fancy new tires on here. White letter out, of course. Go ahead, toss these bad boys on quick. Alright, we're going to try and clean this guy up. So, went to the store and got some SOS pads, which is basically very fine, like a triple or quad out steel wool with soap in them. So we're going to spray it down, hit it with the SOS. I'm also going to mix up a bucket and after give it just a regular wash with car soap and see how much of this gunk and grime and just build up of stuff we can get off here. And just kind of see what our starting point's going to look like on this thing. With the wheels on it, at least it's up and somewhat level. Gotta say, I do definitely like the look of this truck more with the larger wheels. These are 235/75s. The 31s really fill it out a little better. When I do get my permanent wheels and tires on this, probably go with something either a little larger, or if I stick with something this size, I'll probably at least go maybe a little taller, a little bit wider tire to kind of give it some meat, because especially compared to the rears, that looks pretty puny. But we're going to go ahead and clean this thing up, give it a good once over, and kind of establish a good starting point for what this thing's going to look like. So here we go. Let's get to spraying. It's bath time. Looking good. The difference that made is amazing.
I don't know how good it'll be to pick up in video, but you can clearly see where I've done and where I haven't. And this truck looks actually pretty good where it's clean. That paint cleaned up real nice. That whole section was green. There was a bunch of pink back here. All that cleaned off. Unfortunately, they had like another decal stripe, an aftermarket one down there, and that peeled the paint. But honestly, that came out really good. There's still some of this like darker red, which I think is actually like a shot of primer someone stuck on top. It's still on there. If I scrubbed a little harder, I might be able to get it out, but I also don't want to dig too deep in this paint. This is a whole nother mess. This will have to just get repainted. And I don't know what's gonna happen with this door, but it looks like at some point this door was maybe some type of red under it. So we're gonna burn through a couple pads on that and see what happens. We'll hit this other side. It's a new day. Not much better than the last couple days, but we got shut down the other night cleaning this thing and scrubbing and washing on it. We had a unnamed winter storm come through and really put a damper on the party. But let me show you what we ended up with. So this is after the first wash and scrub using the SOS pads. So I mean, really, overall, this thing came out pretty nice. And even now, I mean, wet, it looks excellent. But even dry, it's got some decent luster. With a coat of that clear coat on it, it's gonna look fantastic. That green paint came off. That was that big swatch right here. And that looks good. There is still some spots where like they clearly sprayed junk over the bad spots, I guess just to keep it from rusting. I'm gonna have to go through and address that, but we'll get to that. But honestly, aside from the tailgate, which I haven't touched yet, and the driver's door still needs a little bit of attention, but the rest of this came pretty clean. I mean, that's the worst spot on the entire truck. But this door, you can see I need to get in there with some more. I ran out of SOS pads. I went through the whole box of 10. But there's still like that pink paint in here. I honestly think if you look at this, it looks like someone used a paint brush and actually painted this door red. Because you can see all the veins in it. I mean, this door is awful. But at least now it is red and matches the truck somewhat. So we're going to SOS that a little bit more, clean it up just a bit, try and get a little more of that pink out, and then we'll clear coat it, and that'll make it look pretty good actually. I need to put the bolt in the bottom of this fender again. That bolt got either pulled out or removed. So we need to suck that back in, push that dent out, give it another good SOS scrub, a polish, and clear coat it, and it's actually gonna look really, really good.